morning. Good morning. And welcome, welcome, welcome to the First Universalist Church of Rochester, where we are called to nurture the Spirit and to serve the community. It is so good to see you all here this morning. Thank you for coming for our fantastic, fabulous, and just a bit chaotic flower communion service this morning. I am Reverend Lane-Mairead Campbell. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm your settled minister here. Joining us in leading worship this morning is Trish Gallagher, using she, her pronouns, as our worship associate. Reverend Michelle Yates, using she, her pronouns, our minister of lifespan and faith development. Dr. Brock Chesvold, our fabulous music director, using he, him pronouns. We have folks supporting our online ministries, both Oliver Annan, using he, him pronouns, and Lisa Gwinner, using she, her pronouns. Thank you both for helping us create one community, from folks joining us online and for folks joining us here in person. I have 3 things to share with you all this morning. So are you ready to take a few notes? Today, following our service from 1 to 4, is our all-church picnic in Seneca Park. Please join us. Details are in your order of service. Please come and bring a dish to share. The second, next Sunday, we will not be worshiping here at First Universalist. We will be joining First Unitarian. So please plan to join us in person over there at 220 South Winton Road, or else join us online. Check your email the Saturday before. That link will be out. We will be going to see Reverend Vertus LeVar Robinson preaching that Sunday, who is a former member of our congregation, came out of this congregation, and he will be preaching a service about Juneteenth. So it's going to be pretty amazing. So please join us for that. And then the following Sunday, June 30th, we are shifting our worship services to 10 a.m. Please remember, services will start at 10 a.m. on June 30th instead of 10:30. And we will be continuing that throughout the summer. If you want to find a way to support our summer services, our coffee hour in the summer is certainly in need of your support and is an important way for building community over the course of the summer. So please see the details in your order of service to sign up for that important ministry. If you are here for the first time, second time, third time this morning, we especially welcome you. Thank you so much for making your way here to this worshiping community. We have a visitors form that can be found on the back of your order of service by clicking the link in the chat. If you're joining us online, please fill that out so that we can offer you a welcome beyond just what we can offer you here this morning. Before we take a moment to turn to our neighbors, both in our online space and here in person, we want to take a moment to connect both our online community and our in-person community together. So our camera is right back here. If you would turn towards Hope and offer a wave this morning. Folks joining us online, please pop into the chat and offer a greeting. We're so glad you all are here with us this morning. Grateful to see you. So please, will those folks here rise in body or in spirit and offer a greeting? And if you're joining us online, please pop into the chat. Dear ones, we are a slightly small but mighty crew this morning, so we're going to really have to sing this one out. This morning we are singing Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. Today we are celebrating joy in community, so please rise in body or in spirit. The lyrics will be up here on the screen if you need them, but they're also in your gray hymnal if you'd like to take a look at the music for those of us musically inclined. So please join us in singing out, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. Please be seated.
Welcome, everyone, and happy Father's Day to all fathers, grandfathers, stepfathers, godfathers, and father figures, and to all family and friends who will be celebrating with those fathers today. I can tell by our congregation, a lot of them are already out celebrating with their family. The late great actor Philip Seymour Hoffman, a father of three, once opined, "Love is what gets you up in the morning." I agree. And on Sundays, what specifically gets me up in the morning is knowing I can come be with this church community. It is such a joy to be with so many of my girlfriends, and yes, to be with so many of the best men I know. Remember that Beach Boys song which proclaims, "I wish they all could be California girls"? Well, I wish all fathers could be UU fathers. What a wonderful world this would be. With our UU values, there would be no wars, poverty, cruelty, or greed. There would be peace, kindness, equality, justice, a healthy planet, and love. Real universal community. In this spirit, I bring you a poem, only slightly altered to include flowers in recognition of Flower Sunday. For Keeps by Jo Harjo. I think she's a she, her, but I didn't look her up. Sun makes the day new. Tiny green plants and bright flowers emerge from earth. Birds are singing the sky into place. There is nowhere else I want to be but here. I lean into the rhythm of your heart to see where it will take us. We gallop into a warm southern wind. I link my legs to yours and we ride together toward the ancient encampment of our relatives. Where have you been, they ask, and what has taken you so long? That night, after eating, singing, and dancing, we lay together under the stars. We know ourselves to be part of mystery. It is unspeakable. It is everlasting. It is for keeps. Long live UU fathers and fathers like them everywhere. And may our UU community always get you out of bed on Sunday mornings. Come, let us worship together. As Sage, Bellucci Matthijs, and Catherine Matthijs come forward to light our chalice at the First Universalist Church, and you light a chalice of your own in your homes, will you join me in saying our chalice words in unison? May we be a people of welcome, here to grow in heart and mind and spirit. And may we reach out to serve our community. Thank you, Sage. Please rise in body or spirit and join me in our affirmation of faith, followed by our song offering. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the source and meaning of life. Thus do we covenant with each other and with all.
What we need is here. What we need is here. What we need is here. What we need is
This morning's offering will support our social justice plate for June, the Worker Justice Center of New York. The Worker Justice Center of New York was created in 2011 through the merger of Farm Worker Legal Service of New York, established in 1981, and the Workers' Rights Law Center, established in 2003. The Farm Worker Legal Service of New York also created a nationally recognized project aimed at reducing domestic violence and human trafficking in the agricultural community. Since then, they have represented migrant and seasonal workers in civil matters throughout New York State. Please consider a generous donation to their valuable work. For more information, go to www.wjcny.org. This morning's offering will now be gratefully received. You who are here in person are invited to drop an offering in the offering basket, and if you are a visitor, please feel free to let the basket pass. You're invited to give online by scanning the QR code on the back of your order of service. And for folks online, please click the link in the chat to give to the First Universalist Church. Thank you for your generosity.
I dream Good morning, friends. Perfect. I would love to invite forward any of our littlest littles. Oh, but on the floor. Can you stay down? Can you stay? If you want to come forward to help listen to and tell our story today. Why don't you sit down so you can hide from their gaze? Excellent. So I want to tell you a story that might sound a little familiar, but I tweaked it a little. So once upon a time, there was a village of people. Here, Walter, be my village. They each had gardens. They focused very much on their own gardens. And they were known from far and wide that there were people in this village who had amazing gardens. And it was like their personal ministry. But one day there was a storm, a really, really terrible storm, and it washed all the gardens away. And all the people, all that they could do and focus on was the bare minimum of cleaning the mud and the water and the ruined things in their basements and in their houses in the garbage. And it was such a loss. It was such a grief that when springtime came that year and they thought, all right, it's time to start planting and working on the gardens, they thought, I just can't. I can't do it this year. And maybe I'll never do it again. And a new family came to town and said, you know what? We heard that this town loves to garden. And they're like, no, we don't do that anymore. We're not going to do that this year, at least this year. They're like, well, yeah, it's a lot of work after everything, but what if we all did it together? What if we all did it together and then everyone contributes to the work and then everybody enjoys it? It's not like just each individual person's little heaven. And they're like, no, we're not doing it. But then, go get the books. And the new family spoke loud enough that everyone could hear. And they said, well, you know what I once heard of? That in some places of the world, they make stone gardens. And that all you have to do is, with a little bit of tools and with 3 large, smooth stones, you can make a garden that's beautiful. And so they asked some of the villagers if they could borrow a rake. They're like, okay, I can give you a rake. And they put the 3 stones in a circle. They put them in a circle in the middle of this area, and they raked up all the debris that was still left in this area. Everything looked still pretty shoddy from the flood. And the kids from the neighborhood came, and they thought, it still doesn't look very much like a garden. And the new family said, you know what it could really use? Maybe some yellow stones. And they sent the kids out to ask everyone, do you have any yellow stones? And someone was like, well, actually, I'd been holding on to it. I do have some marigold seeds that I'd been saving for when we finally decide to do gardens again. I'm imagining that the villager gave you some marigold seeds. And so along with the yellow stones that the kids found, they would put up the marigold seeds. And that villager showed them how to plant them. And then they went around, what would really be wonderful if we had some white stones that would really stand out in our stone garden. And they asked around and someone said, well, I actually found a bunch of daisies that had floated up out of their place and all washed against my house. They could really use to be planted somewhere. So why don't you take them and put them in the white stones of the garden? And so they had some white flowers, and they found, as they went around trying to collect different kinds of colored stones for their stone garden, that people would offer things, or they would go in the hills and they would find different grasses or reeds or wildflowers that they never thought belonged in a real garden before, But now that it was a stone garden, it was open to everyone or anyone. And everyone could contribute. Even people who never had the resources to start a garden before, they could be part of this garden. And suddenly people would come from all over like, well, I want to be part of that town where it's not just about my garden or your garden, it's about our garden. And they found that together, by working on the garden, on this community project, that they were able to nurture their spirits and serve the larger community. Thank you. So I want to invite any of our littles to come with me upstairs to plan out what we're going to do later in the service, all right? To prepare ourselves. Ready? Okay, time to go. But first, we're going to sing our doxology to prepare ourselves for the sharing of our joys and sorrows and prayers. Thank you.
Please be seated. You may not realize that when you came to First Universalist Church this morning, you were coming to a jungle gym. But I am so grateful that our children feel comfortable enough here to play. And I want to just remind us and lift that up, that my goodness, how cool is that? So I want to invite us into this reverent time of sharing the joys and sorrows of our gathered community. So if you'd like to, you could place a hand over your heart. Get centered here. Let's just take a deep breath here in the space of our hearts for a moment. As Trish Gallagher places stones into our bowl this morning for each joy and sorrow shared, I will read aloud all of the joys and sorrows that we have here in our book, and all of the joys and sorrows shared online in the chat. If you're joining us online, please do share some joys and sorrows there, and we will be sure to share them here in this space. I want to share with you this morning a joy from Bridget Watts, who shares that it's been a joy to attend the 50th anniversary party for Tom and Carol Bohan, and an extra joy, so a bonus joy, to celebrate along with our friend Jema Dodson, a former member of First Universalist who is visiting for the weekend from St. Louis. Holding Tom and Carol in our hearts this morning. We continue the line of anniversaries. Nancy Gady shares a joy that Carl and I are celebrating our 23rd wedding anniversary today. You love to see it. We share a joy this morning from the Nestor Street Food Cupboard, who we support every second Sunday of the month. Many thanks and much gratitude for the consistent and constant support of First Universalist. And we do share a joy this morning from Trish, who finally found a doctor who seems to understand why she has a persistent cough. So maybe in a few months she will have it under control. And Trish, we are thinking of you. It's what a joy. Amen. Oh, we are a community filled with both joys and sorrows. So I also want to hold that we have some sorrows with us this morning. We hold a concern this morning from Kay Cahill. Pastor Jim from Spiritus Christi needs your prayers. So those who know him and love him, please keep him in your heart. We share a sorrow this morning from Juanita Ball, who last Monday had to put to sleep her companion of the last 8 years, Lexi. Juanita, so sorry. We share a concern this morning from Lisa Gwinner. Over the past month, I've had testing to discover why I'm losing the use of my hands and arms. We've discovered that arthritis changes in my neck are compressing my changes in my neck are compressing my spinal cord. So I will have surgery in the next few weeks to relieve the pressure. I'm grateful to my family and friends for support. And Lisa, we are holding you in love and hoping that you can find a way through this, hoping that a way is made. We share a sorrow also from Mickey Toker, who is reminded of the fragileness of life this morning. One of the refugees that Mickey served at the VOA lost their 6-year-old daughter suddenly. My heart goes out to, and a close friend lost his 95-year-old mother last week. So Mick's heart goes out to those with loss. I never met my friend's mother. I did know Kwam Hwai from the time in the womb. Loss is hard for those left behind, no matter the age or the time shared among us. We hold also with Wes, joining us online, a deep sorrow for the ongoing violence and death in Gaza and for the role our government plays. And with that, we of course hold that we are a worshiping community that is meeting in a time of war. We acknowledge the wars and the conflicts happening in Israel, Palestine, Ukraine, the Congo, Sudan. The list goes on and on. We earnestly pray for these wars to cease. Each Sunday, we light a white candle to acknowledge the grief felt in this time of war and conflict, to honor the many losses. We also light a yellow candle to acknowledge the joy that is the life force that sustains all. In times of grief and conflict, may joy continue to be found. Here in this community, we connect in this time of war, those experiencing the direct impact, both from our grief and from our joy. May we hold a moment of silence this morning to honor the many folks whose lives have been lost in the midst of these unceasing and unrelenting conflicts. Let us just hold a moment of silence for each person who has been taken. We continue to earnestly pray for these wars to cease. And Trish will drop one final stone into the bowl to represent all the joys and the sorrows left unspoken in the silent sanctuaries of each of our hearts. May all be held in the heart of love. Amen. This morning, our prayer is a prayer that is collective. It is an opportunity, actually, to bring into this space the joys and the sorrows that remain in the silent sanctuaries of our hearts. So I just want to invite you to join in as you feel called this morning. Let us pray. Spirit of love, in the many ways you are known and understood in this space and in each of our hearts, we lift our joys and our sorrows into this community of people, trusting that they will be heard and witnessed. Each one of us comes into this space this morning holding sorrows, celebrations, worries, milestones, deep joys, deep concerns. We acknowledge that each one of us brings our relationships here. that we exist as connected beings and that those connections are an expression of a larger love that holds us all. We come in here this morning with those we are holding in our hearts, and we know that they deserve to be named and acknowledged. We join today in naming those who are with us, perhaps not in body, but in spirit and in heart. We know that to name in this community gives power, that to honor our relationships is a powerful thing. And so into the love of this community, the larger love and the love felt here in the relationships we have here, we lift the names of those we know who are sick, whether in body, in mind, those struggling with addiction, those who have been harmed by the ills of our society. We name those who are sick now here into this space. Let us lift up their names. Terrell. May our beloveds find healing, however that looks. May they find relief. May our beloveds have the support that they need. And may we be present with them. May they be held in a larger love. Into the love of this community this morning, we lift up those we are grieving. Those who have gone from our days, those we are no longer in touch with, those whose voices we haven't heard in a while, those with whom our relationship has shifted. We name those we are grieving, those we are missing now, here into this space. Dale Campbell. Donald Hassel. Stephen Hassel. Emily. Jeremy. Eleanor. May we honor the memories of those we know who have died. May we sit with our own grief about those we have missed and we are missing. May we continue to keep those we cannot be in touch with in our hearts, but perhaps physically at a distance. May we find a way to release and to allow a larger love to hold those we are grieving, missing. Into the love of this community, into the larger love that holds us all, we lift the names of those we know who are celebrating. Those celebrating birthdays, anniversaries, those who are getting well after an illness, those present here who have had a recent achievement or just something fun to celebrate. We name those we are celebrating now, those we know who have celebrations to share here into this space. Yvette. Shane. Tom and Carol. Out of this love, let us remember how important it is to celebrate in community. Let us remember that our ceremony is a celebration of life in its full spectrum. Let us find hope in this container of people we find ourselves alongside. We are not alone. We are held by a larger love, and we are here together. Let us join in some collective silence to hold all of the joy, all of the sorrow, all of the grief, all of the celebration we have borne witness to this morning, as well as holding space for the joys and the sorrows of our own hearts. If at any moment, while we were naming those we are holding, those relationships we are holding, you felt some fear this morning, if at all you felt concern or worry, we are here to let the flowers hold it all. And so let us join in singing hymn number 396, I Know This Rose Will Open. I think what we'll do is we'll sing it once through all together, and then we'll sing it twice through in the round, starting with this side, because this is where most of the choir sits, and then the second side will come through and help us out. Let us join in singing.
I know
When I was but a wee Unitarian Universalist, at the age of 16, there was an interim minister in the church that I served who thought it would be a good idea for me to get to lead worship for our congregation. I knew at that age that I was interested in ministry. I maybe didn't know the fullness of what it was going to look like. But he decided that the first Sunday that it would be good to ask me to lead worship would be on Flower Communion Sunday. And I believe it was also Father's Day. And I believe I entitled it Fathers and Flowers. If you can imagine just a young Unitarian Universalist, I think I might have had like some fishnet stockings on. I was looking a little wild, leading worship on this Sunday. It was, to say the least, an imperfect offering. I was stumbling over my words. I was so nervous. I was worried about, what people were going to think of me and whether or not I was able to do this professionally, whether or not this was going to be my future. And I wanted things to be really good for this community that had raised me, for these people that had taught me what it looked like to be a Unitarian Universalist. I was really grateful that day for the generosity of my community, for the community that held me, for even while I was feeling shy and kind of awkward and leading worship in a way that was blustery and blundery, this community held me with so much grace. They came through the receiving line. They said, "You did a great job today." And when I look back on it, isn't that what Unitarian Universalist community is about? We're here holding those of us who are stumbling, learning, moving through life, perhaps in a little bit of an awkward way. We hold one another in those moments. We hold our kids who treat our sanctuary like a jungle gym with love in those moments. We hold our community members with love in moments when we are struggling with sorrow, when we are holding people in concern, when we ourselves are grieving. This Sunday, typically, is about this flower communion service that we've been taking part in for decades and decades. It's a beautiful imagery because what we're meant to reflect upon is just the diversity of the shape and the color of the blooms as a metaphor for each and every single one of us, while also focusing on the collective vases, if you will, that hold us all. These vases, these containers, these vases, depends on how you pronounce it and where you're from, these are our community, the container of this church. Not just a building, but certainly an important container to which we come every Sunday seeking something. I would say some of what we seek is that sense of community and belonging. If that's part of what brought you here, can I just see a show of hands if anybody comes here for community belonging? What I love about our vases this morning is that there is certainly room for more flowers there, but that we have such a beautiful array here too. This past week, one of our community members shared an article with me about why we need church right now. And the reality is that opportunities for communities like this that you can just come into and feel welcome to and belong to are rare. The reality is that the amount of places where we get to engage in collective singing, no matter how good your voice is, that's rare. The reality is that spaces where we can just come and be spiritually fed and nourished, these spaces grow more and more rare. This community is needed right now. Our churches are a part of the fabric of our society that weaves us together. Our congregations are places of worship. Let me not just engage in some Christian hegemonical framing of this. Our places of worship, our communities, our spiritual communities, religious communities are needed right now. There is a joy to be found in being together. There is a joy to be found in receiving some of that grace in moments when we stumble and when we're struggling. There is a joy to be found in a sense of belonging and being at home with a people. I want this for everybody. I want this for anyone who needs it, especially in times when it feels like our isolation and our loneliness is on the rise. At the end of our service each week, we have to place a hand over our hearts and we look around at the faces of those who are here with us. And we do that because each and every person who is here with us is important and matters. And we do that because being a part of this community means we are here together. It is a joy to be here with you all. And may our doors and our hearts and our space be open for more flowers in the vase or the vases, and for more grace and for more togetherness. Amen. Blessed be and may it be so. As we take part in this flower communion service, I've heard a little rumble at the door. This morning, what we are going to do that might be different from some years past is that we are going to have our children share our flowers with us. Now, I want to invite you all to take some flowers into your hands because we're going to consecrate them first. So we're going to wait for just a second before we hand them out. But if you all want to grab some, this is some of the beauty and the chaos of this Flower Communion Sunday. So, dear ones, if you could just hold these flowers here, we're going to take a moment to bless the flowers. And honestly, to bless you all too. It's really good to have you with us this morning. It is a blessing to have you here. Look at that flower in your hair. You came prepared. You understood the assignment. Yep. All right. Here, I'm going to show you. Thank you so much for asking, Sage. How do we bless them? So we'll hold them in our hands.
Put them in water.
We took them out of the water. We took them right out of the water, but we put them in water. And we're going to say this prayer. So let's just draw for a moment into our hearts. Take a deep breath, everybody. Spirit of life, love deeper than our knowing and our experiences, draw near in this time. Help us to see the beauty in each bloom and in each face, from the dandelions to the most prized rose. Help us to value the gifts. Yes, you brought a rose. Get it, girl. Help us to value the gifts we bring here into this space. May this ritual, may these flowers serve as a reminder of the love each one of us received because of who we are, just as we are. May this ritual, may these flowers draw our attention to where you are calling us towards more love, more justice, to more beauty in our world. May this ritual, may these flowers teach us new ways of appreciating and celebrating beauty, waking up in awe to the world around us. Open our hearts, open our minds, open our spirits, that we may bloom just like the flowers before us. Amen. Blessed be, and may it be so. As one of our fantastic and fabulous children comes around to bring you a flower, hopefully a different one than the one that you brought with you, we will just allow our children to lead us in this ritual. And if you are joining us online, please take a moment to look out your window and to enjoy the beauty of a flower wherever you are. Focus your vision there and admire its beauty. And if you get a chance, describe it in the chat. So let us all take a moment to just sit in gratitude for the beauty of these blooms. And please remain in your seats as these flowers are passed around. Go for it. Do you want some more to pass out? Thank you so much to our children. Did you all get flowers? Did you want one? Did you? Okay, great. Feel free to go back to your seats wherever you are with your families. I'm talking to you all from the midst of a lot of flower petals and water. But isn't it beautiful? Isn't it beautiful? Dear ones, this morning, I especially want to just take a moment to hand a particular flower off to our summer minister, Peter House. come forward. It looks like you already got a flower from one of our kids. Would you like to keep that one, or would you? Yeah, take them both. You're going to need them over the course of the summer. Take them both. Thank you so much, Peter. Peter House is our summer minister and will be holding much of our summer worship this summer. Peter, I'm so grateful to you for your ministry with our congregation and for the ability, to be able to take a bit of a break in the summertime and to have a companion in ministry holding our ministry here. So thank you.
And I'm just as grateful to you.
Oh, you're so sweet. Peter says he's just as grateful for me, which is so great. Thank you. Thank you. Dear ones, let's just take a moment to gaze upon our blooms, whatever blooms you got. And let's just take a moment to admire this beautiful gift of the earth. None of these blooms exist in isolation. Take a moment to look around at who is here with you. The many flowers coming out of this collective vase. Let us be grateful this morning for the joy, for the chaos, for the beauty, for the grace, for the love we are held in this community. And let us sing about it. Our closing hymn this morning is hymn number 1064, Blue Boat Home. If you would like to sway about it, I'd say sway while you're singing it. And let us join in singing this beautiful hymn of community. It's in your teal hymnals if you'd like the music. Please rise in body or in spirit.
hearts from wherever we are, Dear ones, let's place a hand over our hearts from wherever we are, or however we are joining this sacred space, and let us take a moment to look around and see who these kindred pilgrim souls are. Let us take a moment to connect with each other. If you're joining us online, please turn your view to gallery view. Dear ones, look at the beauty of this community. Look at the beauty of those here. As we continue to bear witness to one another, as we continue to bear witness both to our joys and our sorrows, our promise and our pain, as we continue to drift together on this journey, let us be grateful this morning for the love felt here, amongst us, within us, between us. Dear ones, may you know that you are loved, and may you go and be that love to whomever you meet. Amen. Blessed be. May it be so.